Hey y'all, welcome back to Movement Link. So I want to spend a few minutes here talking about the Sandbag push press and different ways to hold it, why you might hold it. I've got a GORUCK sandbag here, with different types of sandbags, especially you'll see as I talk about why you might grip one way versus the other. Different types of sandbags may be a little bit different, but the main technique if you're using handles is going to stay the same. So first thing we got to do is when we're getting the sandbag up to our shoulders, and I've got another video on this that y'all can check out, it's just the sandbag clean, and it looks kind of goofy. We jump the sandbag up, and as it's going up, we're going to flip the bag around. So that kind of goofier move on the clean is actually used to set up either getting the bag to our back or set up these exercises we can do from the sandbag front rack position. So once we're up into that front rack position, really everything we do with the barbell is going to look very, very similar here. We're trying to use mainly legs and hips to get the drive. It's pretty obvious that our face is in the way, so we're going to have to move that head up out of the way to give that sandbag some room to go. And we're trying to support that bag, trying to get it over our center of gravity back there. And then when we're coming back down from reps, we're going to have to move that head. So we got to set up the whole thing by a good clean position. So jumping position here, squat down into it, back to the jumping position, flip that bag around. Now it's in my front rack. Drive up overhead, move the head back out of the way, drive up overhead. So I was making the mistake with the GORUCK bag for a while, and I was holding the bag here, which I actually really like. I actually wish they designed the bag for that to be the case. I find holding it in that kind of neutral grip just feels a little awkward overhead, and I'd much prefer to be able to hold something like this to get that torque into it that way. It sits much nicer on the hand. But you'll see as I do it that way, these bags, they get a little droopy. This is just a little too high versus that. And that little bit just kind of makes it not quite be able to clear. So the jump around ends up being the same. This is actually pretty comfortable. But as I do this, it's like almost sitting on my head here. So really it just depends. I would prefer that way, especially carry over from training, helps to keep my shoulders in a good spot. Actually sits in my hand really well overhead. So I prefer that way. Just with these bags, it doesn't quite have enough room to do it. I'm sure you might be able to put some pool noodles in. I've seen people do that. Maybe fill the bags up a little more. But I don't know. These holding it with that neutral grip isn't terrible or anything. So I've just been doing that. It's been completely fine. But advantages, disadvantages, play around with it, see what you like. The kind of clean and the flipping it up and around feels very similar with both. And if you've got the grip here, you're going to have to create that torque, which I like. I don't like to already be there. I like to create it. Anyway, another thing you can do with these is push presses. Usually we're going to go from the front rack, but if you really like that grip, or we're just doing the workout behind the neck, since you don't have to travel up and around and over the head, with the behind the neck stuff, you're going to be able to actually use that other grip. You just have to make sure when you're getting it over, you give it a real big push. So we can just bring it up, give it that real big push. But now that I'm on the back of my neck, I can get that grip I like here and do my push presses. That way, of course, back rack push press, very different stimulus than front rack. So it all depends on what kind of bag you have. But if you've got that GORUCK, you got to hold that neutral grip, and it just feels a little bit weird. Takes some getting used to. I like to wear gloves just because it kind of rubs in a goofy way. I don't know, but if your bag lets you do that, that's the way I would prefer. But keys here, keeping the weight even on the feet through the dip and drive. But basically all the barbell technique we use for the push press is going to translate really, really well. The only tricky thing is making sure that we get that clean that has the spin to set up that front rack position. All right, hope that helps. Talk to y'all soon.